At first, nothing about the house on Tatro Road suggested evil. It was a kind of quiet suburban home where porch lights came on at dusk, where neighbors waved, where parents believed their children were safe long after childhood had passed. Inside lived Chad and Margaret Amato, a middle-aged couple who had built their lives around routine, responsibility, and faith in family. Their youngest son, Grant, was back home again. So was their older son, Cody. To the outside world, the Amatos were ordinary. Inside, something was already breaking. Grant Amato was 29 years old, tall, soft-spoken, and once full of promise. He had studied nursing. He dreamed of becoming a nurse anesthetist, a high-paying medical career that would place him among society's trusted professionals. His parents believed in that dream so deeply that they helped pay for his education, supported him through setbacks, defended him when he failed exams. But the dream collapsed. Grant lost his job. He failed out of his program. His professional future evaporated quietly, replaced by long days inside his childhood bedroom. The door shut, the glow of a computer screen burning late into the night. That screen became his world. It started with adult live-streaming websites, digital rooms where performers smiled into webcams, where loneliness could be answered instantly with attention, where affection could be purchased minute by minute. For most users, it was entertainment. For Grant, it became identity. He found one performer in particular, a young Bulgarian woman named Sylvia, known online as Sylvie. She laughed at his messages. She remembered his username. She called him sweet. In a world where he felt like a failure, she treated him like someone important. Grant began to believe the fantasy was real. He told himself she cared, that their connection was different, that the money he sent her was proof of loyalty, not desperation. He spent hundreds of dollars at a time, then thousands. When his bank account emptied, he didn't stop. He took his parents' money first. Quiet transfers, withdrawals they didn't notice immediately, then his brother's savings, then his brother's firearms, sold for cash, then loans taken out against the very house his parents slept in. More than $200,000 vanished into a digital relationship that existed only in pixels and promises. By the time Chad and Margaret realized what was happening, the damage was catastrophic. Their savings were gone. Cody's future plans were ruined. And Grant was still wiring money to a woman who had never touched him, never met him, never lived in his world. They confronted him, not with rage at first, but with disbelief. They asked how their son, their brother, had allowed this to happen. They begged him to stop. They showed him the numbers, the debt, the lies. Grant insisted it was love. His family called it addiction. They forced him into a rehabilitation program for internet and sexual dependency. They laid down rules like lifelines. No more cam sites, no more contact with Sylvie, no more lies. If he wanted to live under their roof, the fantasy had to end. Grant agreed, outwardly. Inside, he was furious. He left rehab early. He contacted Sylvie again in secret. When his parents found out, the house filled with shouting, accusations, tears, threats, ultimatums. Chad, his father, told him he could not stay if he continued. Grant packed his things and left, but he didn't leave the obsession behind. He left the house feeling humiliated, controlled, and, in his mind, robbed of the only relationship that mattered. He blamed his family for standing between him and the digital woman he believed was his soulmate. To Grant, they were no longer parents and a brother trying to save him. They were obstacles, and in his distorted thinking, obstacles could be removed. Grant did not sleep that night. Being forced out of the house did not feel like a consequence of his actions. In his mind, it felt like betrayal. The people who were supposed to support him had, in his twisted reasoning, destroyed the only thing that made him feel wanted. The cam girl, the fantasy, the illusion that somewhere, someone truly chose him. He checked into a nearby hotel. Alone in the dim room, he replayed every argument, every accusation, every demand to wake up, every restriction, every dollar he had stolen, every promise he had broken. Shame turned to resentment. Resentment turned to rage. And in the darkest corner of his thoughts, a new idea formed, cold, final, irreversible. If they were gone, no one could control him again. If they were gone, the money problem ended. If they were gone, he could start over and return to her. The next day, Grant returned to the family home. Neighbors later said nothing seemed unusual. No screams, no commotion, just a son entering the house he grew up in. Inside were the people who had once trusted him completely. His mother, Margaret, gentle, religious, hopeful even in the face of heartbreak. His father, Chad, a man trying desperately to hold his family together. His brother, Cody, hard-working, responsible, the one who had lost savings and security because of Grant's lies. None of them knew what he had decided. What happened next would erase the family forever. When police eventually entered the house, they found silence so heavy it felt unnatural. The doors were locked, curtains drawn, no sign of struggle, no warning. Inside, Margaret, Chad, and Cody Amato were all gone, shot and left where they fell. A family executed in their own home by the son and brother they had tried to save. Grant was gone. A co-worker noticed Cody hadn't shown up for work and called authorities. That single concern call unlocked a discovery that would shock Florida and ripple across true crime communities worldwide. For 24 hours, Grant Amato was missing. Police launched a manhunt. News stations broadcast his photo. Social media speculated, theorized, judged. Then he was found, alone in a hotel room not far away, calm, composed, as if nothing had happened. During questioning, Grant denied everything. He did not cry. He did not confess. Instead, he spoke in detached phrases, sometimes blaming his family for ruining his life, sometimes insisting he had nothing to do with their deaths. Investigators, however, had evidence, financial records, internet history, the stolen money trail, the rehab records, the arguments. The motive was laid bare, a moderate obsession that had spiraled into annihilation. At trial, prosecutors described a chilling psychological descent. A man so consumed by an online fantasy that reality became the enemy. They argued that when Grant's family tried to pull him back, he chose to destroy them instead. The defense suggested addiction, emotional instability, a mind fractured by shame and dependency. But the jury saw intent, planning, cold finality. In August 2019, Grant Amato was found guilty of 3 counts of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. No possibility of reunion with a woman who never truly knew him. No second chance. No redemption arc. Only decades behind concrete walls with the echo of what he had done. The Amato home was left empty. Neighbors placed flowers outside. Friends spoke of disbelief. Church members prayed for souls they could not understand losing this way. Cody's co-workers struggled with anger that they had once joked with a man whose life would end in betrayal. Extended family members faced holidays with missing chairs that would never again be filled. And somewhere in a Bulgarian city, the cam model who had unknowingly sat at the center of the storm quietly deleted an account and moved on. Another username erased, another digital fantasy closed, while a real family lay in graves. This case leaves disturbing questions hanging in the air. How fragile is the line between online fantasy and real-world delusion? How many signs of addiction were missed before it was too late? Could intervention have saved his family? Or was the descent already unstoppable? Grant Amato's story is not just a tale of murder. It is a warning about loneliness, obsession, and the dangerous power of digital illusion. If this story shook you, don't just watch and move on. Share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think truly drove Grant Amato to cross the line from obsession to murder? Was it addiction, delusion, or something darker that went unnoticed? If you're drawn to true stories where human psychology, crime, and modern technology collide, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss the next case. Every week, we uncover real stories that remind us how thin the line is between ordinary life and unthinkable tragedy. Stay curious, stay aware, and I'll see you in the next story.